Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I'd like to sincerely thank the International Peace Institute, the STZ Fund, and Concordia for arranging such a good occasion, great event. And if we consider our case, we could do really better in if we could compare with other countries in MDG, in achieving MDG, and also we are pursuing SDG very, very seriously. Because of our political philosophy, which started back in 1971, our core political philosophy was that we are going to establish a inclusiveness. So that was strengthened in Vision 2021 of our Prime Minister and 2041 of our Prime Minister. So we have our 5-year plan, two for successive 5-year plans, 5-year plan. We have aligned MDG and SDG with that 5-year plan, and we have mapped all the action, all the ministries that will take action on MDG and SDG. So from that angle, we could do a lot. We could reduce poverty. We could enhance our strength by enhancing our total amount of national income. We could reduce more child mortality and all other things. Today's discussion is very interesting, changing the business as usual model, and this is a very good study has been made, and I have gone over through it, and they have identified very, very valid things here. And but the thing is, private sector, involving private sector in total in peace, and that is really a critical issue. And there is, we must agree that private sector is the driving force, and they are the very powerful force in the whole economic policy and development. And now we have redefined definition of state. Once we said legislature, executive, and judiciary are the states, but also included in the purview of definition of state. So private sector, we cannot deny their presence and strength in the whole process. And transforming the private sector into a partner, they are already a partner with the government, and but we should be very careful about the difference between developed countries and developing and LDCs, because their private sector is not, in LDC especially, is not that strong, that they are not that transparent also, and that is a difficult area. And government institution is a very good idea, that strengthening public institution to foster, to help private sector is very important. And we hope that will really work, and that is working. They are developing. In our country, we have our 6th 5-year plan, that is, we named it Private Sector-Led Growth Policy for 5 years. And it was there. And they have been given all sort of facilities for growing, for their growth. And if we want to make them responsible, it will be different from developed country to our country, because in a poverty-stricken country, you will not find everything very smooth and full of governance. And normally, during growth process, it happened in Europe and America 150 years back. There is primitive accumulation of wealth, and that trend is there, and that is very natural. And during growth process, governance and this sort of pressing them to go for governance is a very hard task, because they are from the power element. And if you consider peace, if you're relevant, find relevance with peace and business community. Actually, it is also very difficult because they'll not be that interested because if you consider Indian subcontinent, we had a century-old supply chain for 1,000 years, but it was bifurcated by partition, and the business was stopped. And in Indian subcontinent, only 5% people, 5% trade is there, and these are the challenges you'll have to face in future in implementing SDG. And the other thing is, if you were unlocking the trillions needed to achieve the SDG, this is another challenge. If you consider developing country or LDC, their GDP and revenue ratio is very, very low. In our case, it is only 8.5%. And we will have to work on that because for implementing SDG, you need huge amount of resource mobilization. And that is only possible if we can really engage private sector in the whole process. We can allow them to grow. We can less interfere their activities. And I think in that way, we can integrate private sector with the public sector. And that exactly we are doing nowadays. We have very good connection with private sector. I think in that way, we'll be able someday to achieve the goal we have already targeted for 2030. Challenge is very strong, but still we'll try to make a situation so that no one is left. Thank you.